Women in HEMA. So I've noticed a few times recently online people have mentioned that the medieval and Renaissance HEMA sources don't really deal with women, or aren't supposed to be used by women. A few things to say about that. First of all, people generalise about HEMA when often they're only talking about medieval sources. Okay, so that's a very thing we've got to be really, really careful about. So HEMA covers things up until at least the First World War, and some people I would agree with up to the Second World War. Different types of combatives, including self-defense and so on. Okay, so when you say HEMA, if you only mean medieval martial arts, then say medieval martial arts, please, because it saves a lot of arguments and is a lot clearer. Okay, but in the medieval sources we do have women. Okay, there is a woman in Walpurgis, who is perhaps a saint. Perhaps she's an emblem or symbolic. We don't know. There's lots of debates about it, but the fact is that there is a woman or girl shown in the earliest European martial arts source we have, which is I-33 or 133, however you want to say it, also known as the Tau Effect Book, and this is the sword and buckler source from about 1300 AD. And in its later sections, it does show the priest training with a girl or a woman, and then this person's name is Walpurgis. So there you go. There's the first female. Secondly, Talhofer, 1459, 1467. We see a judicial duel where a man is fighting a woman, and in medieval judicial duels, there was the idea that they should be fair. And so there was a famous judicial duel in France, although we don't really know if it happened or not, or if it was just a story, between a man and a dog, because the dog had witnessed its master's murder, and the man was the murderer, and the dog was given a barrel to hide in, and the man was given a stick. And this was an idea of trying to make a fair fight, make it equal, so that under the eyes of God, a fair judgment could be given out, and the just person would triumph. And equally, in that same kind of tack, they obviously decided the man had an advantage over the woman, whether it's a husband and wife, I'm not sure. And so the man has to stand in a pit, a hole in the ground, which comes up to his waist, and he has a stick, a kind of mace made of wood. And the woman has a rock inside what looks like a sock, actually, but she's free to move around. And the Talhofer shows various ways in which the man could win the fight and ways in which the woman could win the fight. And then we see this again in Paulus Cal, at least in a couple of versions of his treatise, and then also in Peter Falkner later at the end of the 15th century as well. So there we've got at least 3 15th century German sources showing a man fighting a woman, plus the 14th century or late 13th perhaps century, again German sword and buckler source I-33 showing a woman. So there are definitely women in medieval martial arts in the sources that we study. And then if you're going later period, of course, well, we certainly know that by the 18th and 19th centuries there were some very high profile female fencers. Mostly classroom sal fencers rather than soldiers or military fencers, of course. But then by the end of the 19th century, you've got the combatives, the kind of self-protection, self-defense, street fighting kind of sources coming along, like Vini and the Bartitsu sources, showing fighting with stick, an umbrella, and a bicycle, for example. And we know that the suffragettes were trained in jiu-jitsu and Bartitsu. And so by the Edwardian period, you maybe haven't got lots and lots of women doing European martial arts, but there are a significant and notable number. So so there you go. That's all I want to say really, is that women were an important element in historical European martial arts, and so we shouldn't say otherwise. Thank you.